Hello, everyone. Jan Welch here with Done and Out Blading, the YouTube channel. Done and Out Blading. I'm trying out a new software called Ecamm, and my guest today is Benjamin Sanders. He also has a YouTube channel called iRollerboot, and we're going to test out this software together.
Heck yeah, we're gonna figure it out.
Oh, there we go. That popped me up. All right, Ben, welcome to the show today.
Jan, thank you so much for having me. It seems like just the other day we were doing this, but on my channel. So thanks for having me on yours.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry, everybody, for the little chaotic beginning of this show. Like I said, I have a new software called Ecamm, and it is a little difficult to use. So bear with me as we do this episode today. And I'm guessing everyone in the live chat, let us know if you have any problems with the audio or the video, and bear with us as we figure out how to use this new software. So, Ben, I wanted to talk to you a bit about big wheel blading to start this out with, because I know that 3 weeks ago you posted a video where you said you got injured and you're going to quit skating, but it was kind of a tease that you're going to go into big wheel blading.
Right.
Now, talk to me about like what made you decide to start skating big wheel skates. Like, have you done it in the past, or is this completely new thing for you?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I had my early April Fool's joke that I was quitting skating altogether. But no, so I had Mike McCarthy, Mike McFly, which is in the chat. What's up, Mike? How's it going? Mike McFly over there in Florida, approached me years ago, back, 12 years ago. I think it was back in, Michael chime in the comments, but it was like 2009 or something. But we did the Athens to Atlanta ultra marathon, or
Hey,
at least he.
hey, give me 1 second. It seems like you're not the one on the screen.
Oh yeah, no worries. Huh.
So let me see if I can figure out how to add you to the screen. Oh man, there we go. That's. Do people see both of us on the screen right now? I see both of us right
I'm
now,
streaming it. I'm looking at it on my phone just to see
and
what.
it's just me. There you go. Look at that. Both of
Is
us.
it working now?
Yeah, I see both of us on the screen. It should be coming up. Okay, I apologize to everyone again for the technical difficulty. I'm going to start over. Ben, about your kind of origins story for Big Wheel Blading. You did your teaser.
Hey brother, I think it's just you still, my man. Oh no, I'm there. I'm sorry, man. It was delayed as soon as I
Yeah, it's a
said that.
delayed. It's a delayed.
Yeah, my bad.
All right, so let's get started with your origin story again.
Yeah. So back and Mike chimed in. It was January 2009. He reached out and was like, "Hey man," because I'd been doing a lot of like distance cycling, and Mike reached out and was like, "Hey man, there's this ultra marathon in Georgia called the A2A, or the Athens to Atlanta ultra marathon, inline ultra marathon," and I immediately like dismissed it as something I sounded miserable. But after like thinking about it and talking to Mike a little bit more, I was like, man, let's do this. This is like a huge challenge. And so we started training. We trained for a few months, and I was on some Bont. I forget what model they were, but like full carbon speed skate, low cut Bont speed skates with 4x100s. And it was the first time I ever put big wheels on my feet. And that was quite a learning curve. But so yeah, so we did that. We did the ultra marathon, and it was a blast. And basically, the day, as soon as I crossed the finish line on that 89.4 mile ultra, I was like, yep, this is it. I'm going back to aggressive little wheels, and I checked that box. But now, hey, I got hurt. I'm like, well, I still have my bicycle. What's funny is I hurt my tailbone, and so my plan was to ride my bicycle for recovery. Well, it's hard to ride a bicycle with a broken, or I never got it X-rayed. I don't know if I actually broke it, but with an injured tailbone. And so I was like, you know what, man, like let's parlay this into some big wheel, and it's been a blast. So.
Tailbone's a terrible injury. I just fell on my tailbone last Saturday at the skate park in
Oh, that's
Montreal. Bounced right off the coping, got airborne. Luckily, I have crash pads, or the which brand is it?
is it G form
G
or
Form. Yeah, I have the G
G
Form
form?
hip
Yeah.
pads, and they worked really well. And I probably would have broke my tailbone because I'm kind of heavy now. Like falling on it would have been a bit miserable.
Yeah, man. I tailbones. This is my first real tailbone injury, and it is not fun. Holy cow.
I think I hear the audio. Are you playing it on your background?
No, that's what's
Okay.
interesting because I hear the audio too, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm not playing it on anything. So,
Yeah, because I have one
strange.
earbud in just to listen for any external audio, and I don't hear anything, so that's strange.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
So, now you skated at ultra marathon. Now you've skated your first normal marathon. I saw you made a video about it. You did 26.2 miles, and you're skating on the FRX 310
Yeah,
wheels, which is 3 by 110 millimeter.
right.
How do you like those skates? And was that the same skates you skated in the ultra marathon with?
No, the ultra marathons were the Bonts. They were the full carbon, low cut Bont brand speed skates. That, in hindsight, it was silly of me to skate such an aggressive, low profile skate after not having a huge base, a strength base on those skates. I should have skated something more like the FRX 310. But shout out carrierskateshop.com. Fritz hooked it up with a steep discount on the FRX 310s, and they're the skates. If you've been following the channel over there on iRollerboot, you've seen me skating for the last few videos now, and they've been great. Super fast, super short wheelbase, so they're super snappy, but lots of fun urban skating. And yeah, that marathon the other day, I just kind of I mentioned in the video I had like a big greasy pizza the night before and felt kind of guilty. So I was like, you know what, man, like I need to punish myself a little bit. So I woke up, did the 26 miles, and did a little bit extra just because I didn't keep track of my distance as well as I should have. But no, it was a good experience. It was nice weather here in San Antonio for that.
That's really cool. So Carrier Skate Shop, for those of you who don't know, is owned by Fritz Peissner, and I did a podcast interview with him for Done and Out Blading. It's in 2 parts. You should check it out. It's very interesting. Talks about how he started a skate shop, Carriers. It talks about his bad injury at the powwow in Florida a couple years ago, where he had severe head injury. So really cool guy, legend in the Texas scene. So I haven't been doing a lot of big wheel blading, obviously, this winter because it's been snow here. I haven't done
Sure.
much of aggressive skating, but this week I skated 3 times, and it's 4 times now I've skated all year. So I got 3 times in this week. Went to
Sick.
Montreal last weekend, skated a skate park. On Tuesday, my girlfriend and I went up to Quebec. I found a trail there. It's 50-kilometer loop that loops between 3 cities, and it's really awesome. It's probably one of the coolest trails I've ever skated. So I plan on
Uh,
going there every week. It's only about an hour from my house, hour and a half, so it's
yeah,
not too
that's what's
bad.
up.
And
How's the tailbone feeling now?
tailbone feels okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
skated the skate park last night in Burlington. Took it easy, just kind of rolled around because I didn't want to fall on it. Plus, it's not
Sure.
really my favorite skate park, but it was actually kind of interesting at the skate park session yesterday. There's this kid, Ben, who showed up to my. He has the same name as you, but his name's Ben. And
Okay.
he came to my skating event I host every summer in Vermont, the New England Blading Camp. And he had
Mhm.
just started skating, and he was really motivated to skate and, like, not scared to try a lot of crazy stuff. Anyway, he invited me to the park session because he's moving to Fort Collins for grad school. And they rent the park out once a week, every Wednesday, like for private session, I guess as a
Yeah.
group. And there's a bunch of random rollerbladers there, like I've never seen before, and just quad
Wow.
skaters and no skateboarders. So yeah, it's Burlington's got 45,000 people, and there's so many bladers in that town, like from
Wow.
recreational to quad skating. Now back to recreational skating or just skating around the city. You live in San Antonio. San Antonio has a lot of trails. I don't know if you've explored them all, but there's a
Yeah, for
lot of
sure.
trails. Like there's the Mission Trail that goes from
Yep.
downtown all the way to the Missions. That one's
Yep.
really cool.
It's pretty, man. Right along the river there. I've ridden my bicycle on it. I haven't actually skated it yet. So, but yeah, there's so many trails. I feel like very fortunate because San Antonio is a great place to skate. Lots of trails. The downtown is a lot of fun to jam around. So I feel like it's a great place. I want to go make a trip up to Austin here pretty soon and do a big wheel trip and make a fun downtown Austin urban edit here pretty soon
Austin has a lot of trails. Make sure you let me know before you go. I'll give you some places I recommend you checking out,
for sure.
which is really rad. One thing will say about skating, big wheel blading in Texas, especially San Antonio, which has a little bit less trees on some of the trails, it gets really hot in the summer. Really hot, so you have to start your skates sometimes like 5:30 in the morning, so you're done by 9.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because that's what I would do in the summertime. It's just way too hot, brutal.
Oh,
You gotta carry so
100%.
much water with you. So for the marathon skates you skated, so for anyone who's never skated a marathon skate, they're low cut, they're carbon fiber, they're very tight. A lot of speed skaters skate no socks. Um, and you really have to get them fitted properly. You can't just order a speed skate necessarily. I mean, unless you're lucky that it's going to fit you properly. I asked
Right.
Matthias from Power Slide, what made his speed skates better than anyone else's, or why should they pick his over anyone else's? And he said, speed skating is different. You don't pick somebody. You pick by fit. So everyone has a different fit, and it's not that one's better than another. It's just they all fit better, and whichever skate's going to fit the best. And I've skated a marathon skate once. It was a rollerblade marathon skate, and it was so uncomfortable. I didn't enjoy it. I do
Yeah.
have, they do have hybrid skates, which is like a more for speed skating, marathon, and you can use the boots for urban skating. I do have some to show you. So on, make myself in the screen here. So we have the Power Slide. This is their hybrid skate, and it's a marathon skate, and it's good for going really far distances because it's got a really long frame. If you see the space between those wheels, and it's a Trinity mount, so you're lower to the ground. And I really enjoy this for trail skating, or like if you're skating flat. But when it comes to hills and things like that, it's not a really good skate because you can't slow down that easy and you can't turn very easy. Now you had mentioned in your show that something about maybe not having the right skates for distance skating, but
Yeah.
I think pretty much most skates, especially with the frame options these days. That's why I think Power Slide with the Trinity mount, they've got like 20 different frames, so you can have one boot and you can do every type of big wheel blading. You can get
Right.
a marathon frame like that. You can get a slalom frame. You can get your just urban frames. Lots of different frames. You can also get your off-road frames. So you got your
Yeah.
150 millimeter off-road frames, Trinity
And
mount.
those are Trinity mount.
Yeah, the Trinity mount.
Yeah.
The 125 Power Slide frames are not Trinity mount. They're 165 mount. And for non-aggressive skates, you have three mounts right now. You have 165, which is just the two holes. You have Trinity mount, which is the three holes. You do have DAP does have their quad mount or whatever with the four holes, and then what else is there? That's it, right? Yeah, that's it. And then you have some big wheel frames for UFS skates that you can get. So you have like obviously the Wizard frames or UFS. I have the only style frame like that I have is the K2 R100 frames, which are kind of one of the first frames, and they're rockable.
How do you like
All-American
them?
rocker. They're pretty cool. I haven't really played with them too much because I didn't have a really good boot for them. I do now with those Iqon skates. I'll probably play around with those. And you also have Ground Control makes frames. Like here's a 125 UFS.
Wow.
They make the 80s. You can
I
get
didn't realize you made that.
yeah. They have 125, 110, 80 for Ground Control. Maybe a 90. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of my favorite setups for when it comes to big wheel skating, I really enjoyed skating. Urban skating is my favorite thing. So just skating around the city,
Oh, absolutely.
like pumping,
Zoom in.
parking garages, hitting hill bombs, just playing with the urban landscapes, and finding new skate spots along the way for aggressive skating.
100%.
And that was the same thing for trail skating in Austin, 2017. I skated several thousand miles throughout the year. Was trying to do a marathon a day almost, and I found so many skate spots that we filmed that
Oh, I
throughout
bet.
the
It's
year.
like scout. It's like reconnaissance skating.
Yeah, it was really cool. So, and I love the feel of big wheel blading. Like I got into it back in 2016 again. I started obviously before aggressive was a thing. So I was on 80 millimeter or 72 millimeter wheels, and I loved urban skating back then. In the early 90s, we had a night skate in Austin. That was actually like Arlo Eisenberg was part of it, but before I joined it, because he used to go to University of Texas before me, and then obviously aggressive came, and the wheels got really small, especially back then. You had all the micro wheels, and
How small did they actually get down
Well,
to?
there was people riding like 53s, 52s.
Oh,
Um, some people were like riding 48 anti-rockers flat, like when they first came out because they didn't know what they were doing. you know.
I saw someone. I can't remember what channel it was, but he did that as a joke. He rode flat on all anti rockers, and I haven't watched it yet. I need to see that one.
So yeah, but back then, skate technology wasn't very good. You had your Lightnings, you had the Rossies. They're all kind of similar skate. Everything was riveted. Everything was kind of made cheaply. They didn't have a high end skate back then, really. Uh, so they weren't really a lot of the best skates, and then you kind of convert them to aggressive skates with little sill plates and stuff like that. But fast forward to today, you have the technology has advanced quite a bit for certain types of skates. I feel like some aggressive skates haven't changed at all. Like the Razor's Colt is the same
I was
skate.
about to
It's been
say.
for 20 years. Um,
Yeah.
but with materials, with the metals for the frames, the urethane's gotten way better. Everything's gotten more expensive with that. I
Yeah.
mean, you look at skates now, $400 or $500, and the Icon skates are you're pushing 677 for boot only for the TR10 and the AG10, and it's a lot of money. But they're
Yeah.
carbon fiber, and I do have this to show, which is this is
Never
the
get.
the Icon TR10 boot, Trinity mount. Trinity, it's got the carbon sole, carbon boot, carbon
What,
cuff,
what size did you end up getting?
10 and a half,
Yeah.
and it's not a BOA system because that's kind of a K2, but it is a BOA system. It's just
Mm.
like a non K2 BOA system. So you push it in, you can tighten your laces, pull it out. And I haven't skated this boot yet. I'm actually going to do an unboxing. So this is like a preview for everyone who hasn't seen my unboxing video yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be adding the decode frames to it. So it should be pretty interesting. They look really nice. They look nice and wide in the toe. I have a problem with some of the power slide skates, like these ones, the power slide Arise.
A little
They
narrow, or
they're way narrow in the toe,
yeah.
so you can kind of see how much wider that Icon is. And I had a bunch of people, when I was reviewing the AG10, saying it's just a USD7 or carbon with the skin on it, and examining them, they're a little bit wider. They're different last. I talked to Power Slide about it, and they said that they changed the last, and it's a new skate.
Hmm.
Completely new skate. That might look similar, but they assured me it's a new skate. I don't have a USD7 to cut apart to check, and I'm not definitely not going to cut apart the Icon skate, but I will believe what they say. There's no reason for them to lie about that.
Yeah, I saw Montre getting a little heated on the gram for someone like, I can't believe they just reskinned a USD7, and he set him, seems like he set him straight. I don't know. Um, I'm waiting. I'm like literally checking my email every 5 minutes, Jan. I'm not kidding, for my AG20s to come in. They're like sitting in Chicago at customs or something. Oh
Oh,
my
really?
god.
That
Oh my god.
sucks. I've heard that they're sitting in customs all over the place right now.
Oh, it's miserable. Hey, I'm going to throw a wrench in your. Can you see on the bottom where I'm sharing my screen at all? Where I have the bonds pulled up, or no?
No, but I can actually, I believe I can throw it.
Because I have those those 3 point mounts bonds that. Not
Here we
sure if.
go.
Did you find it?
It's right next to me. You should be. It should be on the screen right next to you, so you can go ahead and talk about it.
Okay, word. Yeah, so these are the carbon fiber Bont. I can't remember what the actual Bont cheetahs, I guess, is what they were. I can't remember exactly how much they were, but this took a whole lot. Like you were saying before, you don't really choose based on quality or brand necessarily. You choose based on fit, and you just kind of stick with that. And this took a lot of tinkering with, a lot of back and forth in and out of the oven, and a lot of different Frankensteining stuff to get these to work well. Oh, it looks like there we go. Okay, cool. Yeah. So anyway, just wanted to show those just for anyone that was interested in what I was talking about. So
Cool. Thank you.
yeah.
All right. Now I'm back. I'm on the opposite side of you this time.
Nice.
This
Mixing it
software
up.
is I to everyone who's joining late. I'm using a new software. I'm testing it out so me and Benjamin can see how it works for our future live streams. And it was completely different from the one I usually use. So we had a small delay figuring out how to use it. So thank you everybody for your patience. I want to say for another thing with big wheel blading is coming from I do the big wheel blading website and I show skates that are like 72 millimeter and 80 millimeter, and a lot of people are like those aren't big wheel blades, but those are rec skaters. Coming from aggressive, everything over 60 millimeter I consider big wheel blading, right? So, even back 60 millimeter used to be considered big and aggressive.
Hmm.
So that's why like I think that these skates, with the wish frames, I with 72 millimeter, I consider this like a big wheel blade, for aggressive. That's just my personal opinion.
I agree. I
And
agree.
then I think, for the types of skating on big wheels, the mustache is looking great.
Thanks, Matthias. Appreciate it.
So obviously there's recreational, which is making probably the biggest comeback of any type of skating since COVID. Would be just recreational people skating on trails, getting exercise. I noticed that I was trying to organize skates and talk to some of these people, and most of them don't really care about skating like as a culture or being part of a skate. Just kind of going out there exercising.
Are you saying just
And
like what people are you talking about?
I'm talking about people that I come across skating on the trails here in
Ah,
Vermont, New Hampshire. They're like recreational skaters. They
got
bought
it.
skates because of COVID,
Yeah,
or they pulled out their own old skates, and you just like try to say hi to them on a trail or invite them to skate, and they're just like, yeah, you know,
yeah. That's interesting.
they're not really there
They're
for a
happy,
culture.
right? They're just in their little bubble of, and whatever. If that's their prerogative, then so
I
be
just
it.
feel there's a lot of people like that. So
Interesting.
I feel like those people on the fringe, like they're all skating again, but they're going to be the first to quit skating, maybe.
Yeah,
You
I could
know,
see that. I could see
because I don't think it's not like I don't think they have a passion for skating. They have a passion for getting exercise.
that. Totally, totally. And that's exactly how I am with my bicycle, with my road bike. Like I don't have any drive to like be part of any local cycling clubs. And yeah, like as such, like I love doing it, but it's not like an integral part of my life like skating is.
So what's next with you and the Big Wheels videos? I know you said you're gonna go to Austin, do some trails. You're gonna do some more urban style skating, some trick skating once you get a little bit more healed on your big
Yes,
wheels.
I think that's the plan. Yeah, I really. So me, Avery, and Sam Brownlee went mobbing around downtown. If you haven't seen that video, it's on my channel for our listeners. And it was really crazy fun filming Avery and Sam just mobbing around downtown. And so I really, really, really want to make a road trip to like Dallas, to Austin, and just like basically do the same thing in different settings because it was just so much fun filming with the Insta 360, and I'm still figuring that thing out. Um, but yeah, once I start like getting more to the point where I'm healed up and like okay, cool, like let's jump on and off some stuff and try some new maneuvers. Then we'll go there. But in the probably the big scheme of things with the big wheel blading, it's going to be just jamming downtown with some friends and then get my fitness on the trails, just to kind of stay in shape, almost cross train for aggressive skating in a way.
How many of these San Antonio aggressive skaters have gotten into big wheel blading?
That's the thing. What's funny is when I first came to San Antonio, I was kind of like that lone wolf aggressive skater for like 2 years. All I did was just go to Pearsall Park and just skate by myself. And finally, I think Carlos Bowman, not sure if you know Carlos at all,
No, I don't.
but yeah, so you've probably seen him around. He's been around that sport a long time, but he showed up and basically got me in the local group, the local scene. And it seemed like just as I was getting into the local group chat, everyone was just getting out of big wheel blading, or just like it was like phasing out. And this was like, I don't know, probably close to 2 years ago. But it went through like this big wave here in San Antonio. But I think with like, I don't want to say that like I'm being like a driving force to get some people back into it, but it seems like, you know, there's more people kind of like more interested in it now again, if that makes sense. So there's probably three or four that, me, Sam, Avery, and then I'm thinking who else? Probably three or four of us that are kind of like more into it
Hmm.
right now.
All right. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that Austin was, well, before I left, was had a really big rollerblading scene. We
Hmm.
did our Monday night skates and Friday night skates, and the Monday night skates have come back, so you should definitely pop up there on a Monday night and check that out.
In
There's a guy
Austin,
named
right?
Eric
You said
Cruz who organizes them. I don't know if you've met Eric before. He skates for Power Slide
what's
as
his
a
last name again?
Cruz, Eric Cruz.
Cruz. Okay.
He
No, I don't
skates for
think I've
Power
met.
Slides as a distance skater, but he is an aggressive skater originally.
No.
So
Yeah.
he's the kind of one who got me into distance skating to begin with, because he would skate a ton all the time, all over the place, and I was really impressed, by his like 40-mile skates and stuff, and 60-mile skates, and that's what it pretty much what inspired me. Although he kind of like it took over his life. Like he didn't really aggressive skate that much and stuff anymore. I like
Mhm.
to keep a balance of both, because it's kind of like I like them both. So I'm not going to give up
I agree.
one thing for another, which a lot of people
Right.
do. They start a new hobby and they completely quit the last thing
Totally.
they did. They can't
Absolutely.
multitask.
Right. No, I'm all about it. A little bit of balance, a little bit of both. I think they supplement each other really well. Um, Jan, this is like the running theme on all my live streams nowadays. But I have to take my 30-second hiatus. So to deal with my camera really quick. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem. I'll go
All
ahead and
right.
talk a little bit
Yep.
more.
I'll be right
So
back.
I'm gonna show you one more skate, since we talked about the different types of skating. Well, the different types of skating, recreational skates, and probably the biggest type of skating there is, and the cheapest to get into, because you have brands like Blade Runner and Play Life. Play Life is the power slide brand for low, for like entry level skates, and Blade Runner is the entry level rollerblade brand skates under $100. And then you have obviously urban skating, freestyle, slalom, speed skating, and downhill. And here's a really cool setup for downhill. It is a five wheel Flying Eagle setup with the slope killer frames, and these are 90 millimeter 85A. And I have actually not skated them yet because it's been winter, and the roads here are gnarly and have a lot of potholes, and I'm a little scared to bomb some mountains in Vermont, but I think that I will try and skate these sometime here in the near future. Looks like Ben is getting back together.
All right.
All right. Hey Ben, welcome back. I just showed everybody
Thank you.
my five wheel downhill skates. Did you see them?
Oh yeah, I see the lag on my phone. Yeah,
Yeah, right here.
those are. Oh my god. Do you have any top speeds records, like recorded personal records?
Me? No, I was saying I haven't actually skated these yet. I haven't set
Oh, you
up,
haven't.
so I'm gonna skate them this spring. Um, Gabe Holm from Thorough Shop in Boston. He's got the world record for downhill speed skating, or downhilling on inline skates, something like 80 something miles an hour. And in Montreal, outside of Montreal, every 2 years they have the downhill speed race. It's like just a straight mountain road, just straight down. They have skateboard, inline, and some sort of weird like street luge
Yeah.
thing. Anyway, he got the world record like 4 years ago. There's a video on the Rollerblade YouTube channel about it. I'll also post a
Mm.
link to it in the description below. People can check it out. Um, but yeah, that's pretty gnarly. And downhill skating is pretty crazy. There's a few events here in the U.S. for it. There's one in Washington State every year, and a
Yeah.
lot of the guys downhilling are pretty old, like in their 60s. They've been downhilling since the 90s.
Yeah.
It's just
Is
shredding
it the
it.
same? Yeah, is it similar to like the street luge where it's just like a couple mile, just bombing hills, doing big turns kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, so the one in Montreal, like I said, it's just a straight like a straight shoot straight down.
Okay.
But the
Yeah.
one in Washington is it's a it's a very curvy mountain road. It's also part of a festival, so they have bands. It's like downhilling and bands, so it's like a weekend festival.
What could be better?
It's called Maryville or something. I'll try to post a link to it in the description below. It's pretty gnarly, and there's another video of Gabe skating that on the Rollerblade YouTube channel as well.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions regarding any big wheel blading or anything in the chat. I haven't really been following it. Go back
Yeah,
through.
Mike McFly says he had 5x90s. Mike, I remember you had those 5x90s back when we were skating together for speed skating.
Are you gonna skate any marathons this year, Ben?
Am I?
Yeah,
Oh, like organized marathons?
yeah. Like any organized marathons? Any plans to skate anything?
So what's funny is that I went to the Treehouse. Anthony Renbarger organized the Treehouse where Mick Casals and Cody Sanders were at. There was an edit I put up recently. It was the Treehouse edit, which is a really fun little kind of DIY backyard park with Anthony Renbarger. Thanks again for hosting that. That was a blast. But that same weekend, Houston was hosting an inline. Actually, it was a half marathon. It wasn't a full. But I kind of just, had the idea, and I looked it up, and literally, in 4 or 5 days, it would have occurred that weekend. And based on the cost and the travel and the this and that, I just decided it wasn't quite worth it, and especially because it was just a half. So I'd have to get like some kind of lodging and the entry fee and all this stuff. And so I was planning on doing that, but obviously I didn't. I ended up filming at the Treehouse kind of session, which was fun. But yeah, to answer your question, absolutely. Like I absolutely want to train and get a good, nice, solid base, and go out and see if I can at least draft off the better skaters and see if I can put up a decent time. But we'll see.
I
Have you ever
recommend.
competed?
I did only a half marathon, and that was the Montreal Marathon, and that was the same year I broke my back. About
Ooh,
3 or 4 months after I broke my back, and it was a really. I skated a half marathon because I knew I couldn't skate a full marathon, and it was also a bad decision to skate a half marathon. Uh, I couldn't bend. When you skate a marathon or when you're skating fast, you want to bend forward and you want to bend over for speed, and I could not bend over. I was like stiff, straight up, just stiff,
yep.
and it was painful. And couldn't skate very fast. I still skated a half marathon. One reason I went there is because Pascal Briand was there. He's a French champion speed skater, coach for the French national team, and he's also works for Powerslide, skates for Powerslide, does their YouTube stuff, and he's also has a really good YouTube channel. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but lots of
No.
tutorials on speed skating technique and stuff like that. Pascal Briand.
Oh, I've heard of him. Yeah, I kind of was like a Joey Mantilla fanboy.
Yeah, Joey
Or
Mantilla he's also good. He is definitely a like here. You go ahead and pull something up. I have you up with the web browser.
you do. Okay.
Yeah, there's Joey Mantilla.
So this is I'll mute it. Oh, the iRoller Boot account, which has ads. So it's funny. My YouTube Premium account is my other account, which other people will recognize. But I did a double push video where I try to do top speed on which you may or may not have seen, but just try to do top speed with the double push. But this is Joey Mantilla, and he does a really, really good job of talking about the double push. What's your opinion on the double push, Jan?
The double push is very difficult for people to figure out. I was actually going to ask
Yeah.
you about that as well because I did see that video. But it definitely makes you skate a lot faster with a lot less effort. And that's one thing I see with, like, I go skate with my girlfriend. She strides way too much, so it's like she gets worn out way before me because I do my long pushes and I don't exert barely any energy, so I can just keep skating forever. So the double push is a good technique. How's your double push? Do you feel like you've
You
mastered
know,
it, or
definitely not mastered. Every now and then, I feel like I'll get a really good one because it's to the point now where I have to actually still think about it. When I was skating and training for the marathon, I probably got to the point where it was much more natural and it just occurred. But now that I'm getting back into it, I have to consciously think about each and every push. And so for our viewers, if you're not familiar with the double push, is it still showing my screen
It
right now?
still is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. For our viewers that aren't familiar with the double push, it's really kind of you're crossing your midline as on each push of your skate. So your recovery foot goes inside your body, almost opposite of what you would even intuitively think. It builds speed and compression as it works its way out, and you finish on the inner edges of your wheels. And it's much more efficient. It's much more like economic over the long term. So if you watch marathon skaters and you watch their skates closely, they'll do this. It's almost like an S curve with each skate, and it's much more efficient and can be a lot faster when done correctly. If you're doing it incorrectly, you can actually sap a lot of your energy and efficiency.
What technique do you think you need to learn still to improve your speed?
I think the biggest thing for me is that, especially in this video, when he talks about there's not a lot of actual knee extension and knee movement. So if you watch his knees, that he almost stays in a pretty seated position, and he talks about it right here. But just getting to the point where you have that like muscle endurance to stay in that like invisible chair, and just like you were saying, in that more aerodynamic position, which like lights up your lower back and your whole posterior chain. And so I think for me, that's the biggest thing is like I haven't been focusing on this. And so all those muscles that I used to use are incredibly weak. So I think that's my biggest thing is just getting that endurance back of those specific muscles.
And how are you feeling now from your injury? Have you put on your aggressive skates at all?
It's a secret, so you can't tell anyone. But when I went to that treehouse session, I guess it was last weekend. I had the Aeons on, and I was just filming people, and I did a couple front sides on the P rail, nothing crazy, a couple switch ups. But honestly, it's feeling better. I've literally been waking up, doing my elastic band rehab, and I do like stability drills, and I'm really, really, really trying to take this recovery seriously because I'm like, holy cow, like I'm only 32 and I can tell my body does not heal like it used to.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
know like it's not getting any better from here. So
It's going to definitely be worse when you're my age.
right. So, but to answer your question, like all the injuries are coming around. I feel like I'm finally starting to like see the light at the end of the tunnel, and especially thank goodness because those AG20s are coming in, and it's going to be a real challenge to just sit and watch those on the floor without skating those. So
One thing I've been curious about you is why did you end up in San Antonio?
the Air Force, yeah.
The
So
Air
I
Force.
was in the
Okay.
Air Force for 10 years, yeah. So that's basically what happened. Is I was skating basically all the way through high school, and then after high school, I went to college for physical therapy, which you'd think I'd be able to avoid injury a little bit better given that background, but that's not the case. And then joined the Air Force, did 10 years in the Air Force, kind of skated very sporadically, but ultimately, like for all intents and purposes, I didn't really skate very much at all over 10 years. And then the beginning of this channel was me getting back into it. So the Air Force, I finished up my last 4 years in the Air Force as an instructor here on Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. So,
Okay, so you were living in San Antonio when I was in Austin already.
oh yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
That's
because
funny.
I moved to Vermont in December 2017. So, and we would go to the street comps in San Antonio. Always hang out
The
with
TS
Poncho, the TSS
Poncho,
Texas Skate
yeah,
Series.
right. TSS. I remember when I first moved here, I looked up like San Antonio rollerblading stuff before I knew anyone, and that was the first stuff I saw was the TSS stuff, and I was like, oh man, these guys are good. Holy cow!
Yeah,
So small world.
there was a lot of really good skating happening in those competitions, and we
Hmm.
had back in the mid 2010s, 2013, 2014. There was a contest in every city in Texas. You had Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Corpus, all had contests. And then you had the finals in Austin every year. And the finals, like everyone loved going to Austin because it's just Austin. So you have all the
Sure.
bars and stuff, the music, and then you have the greenbelt, the swimming spots. So it always end up at the swimming hole with 100 people jumping off
All
cliffs,
kinds of
and
good beer. Yeah, what don't you have?
it's just the cops kind of ruined the fun.
I was going to ask what kind of throttled that down.
That's part of it. It's just the legalities of it. You have people. Kevin Little was organizing it, and he's a family man, and he didn't really want to take the potential risk of getting in trouble because it's inline skaters, so most of these contests are at schools, and you have people with beer and weed, which is fine and dandy at like a different spot, but at a school where it's like super illegal to have that stuff, cops roll up. It's not a who's ever is in charge is gonna get in big trouble. So
Right. And
that
you kind
kind
of know
of
that going.
yeah. So the risk of that is kind of what ended the street contests in Texas, to my understanding.
Yeah.
And it's always one person. And that's the thing about blading. A lot of people have ideas, want to help, but there's only ever one person who actually gets stuff done, and it's like
Oh, yeah.
too much work for that person. So if they don't have anybody to hand it off to, then it ends.
Right.
And luckily,
Always.
like events like the Mile High Battle in Denver, and have been able to be passed on to different people and continue their legacy. But
Yeah.
a lot of events, I mean, even with things I've done, it's like Big Wheel Blading, getting people to contribute, very hard.
Right.
Getting people to do
Like
stuff
pulling
for
teeth.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's one thing if you could pay them, but getting people to contribute for free, like not now, maybe like 20 years ago was a lot easier. But now everybody's
Yeah.
adults and nobody wants to do anything for
Yeah.
free
They're
or
like, let me just show up
for
and
volunteering or whatever. So I
right.
feel like it's hard. Even organizing skate sessions like night skates. You need a couple people for city skates to be there
Right.
every Friday night for the night skate and
Right.
lead it, and or otherwise you're not going to have it.
Totally. It's a big, I mean, it's not a huge commitment, but it's one that a lot of people at this point, like, it takes that one person, that one glue. We always say Jeremy Skinner here in San Antonio is the glue that holds us all together. It always takes that one person. Um, I Matthias asks a question here. Which Trinity skate you would use swap between 125 marathon and also city 80 to 90? So basically, what would you swap between 125 frame and an 80 to 90 millimeter frame?
Which Trinity skate would you let me see. Can I pull up questions on the screen? There we go. All right. Figuring out the software still, everybody. So I think pretty much any Trinity skate that's not a dedicated speed boot would work for an urban skate, mainly because the speed boots, like the dedicated marathon skate, they're not really that comfortable, right? So they're good for they're high performance skates, but I like a skate if I'm gonna skate around both speed and city skating. I like the Powerside K's. That's a boot I used for a lot of my distance skating. That I would put those frames on that I just showed you on that skate, or a 3x110 setup. Um, the These Arise RDs, they're a lot more similar to the speed skate, but they definitely come in as an urban setup, so you could use both. But as far as comfort, I would look for a skate that's the most comfortable for doing both. But my personal choice would be the K's, and I don't think the Next, because the Next is a little bit more bulky for a speed setup, and a little heavier. But yeah, my recommendation would be the Powerside K's or the Arise RD. Have you skated Trinity Mount yet?
I have not. Yeah, I've really just skated those Bonts and these FRXs so far.
Trinity Mount's nice because you're a lot closer to the ground. The way that
Mm.
the it's like, see how the wheel sits into the
Yeah,
almost at the
no, it
bottom of
looks
the
really
boot
nice.
there, and typically otherwise you would be another couple centimeters higher off the ground.
Totally.
So they're
On my
pretty cool,
FRXs, yeah, I feel like I tower over people.
and they
Like a
go
giant.
side to side, front to back. It's a cool setup. I mean, let me see what other questions do we have in here.
They asked me what my skin regimen is.
So you can go
Oh,
ahead and and answer that for them.
yeah. So fun fact, this camera that I'm using, the Sony ZV-1, actually has some kind of like uh, automatic setting that like enhances your complexion. So don't be mistaken. I don't have beautiful, wonderful skin, I promise. But I did do 10 years in the military out in the sun and out in different harsh environments. And so I do actually try to take care of my skin now because I'm not getting any younger. And one of these days I'm going to want a girlfriend, and hopefully I don't look like a bag of garbage. So that's the answer on that. I think someone asked how old are you, Jan? And JT says 27, I believe.
All right. Well, I'm going to answer this question first. It says,
Okay.
"Hey Jan, did you ever check to see if the CF cuffs fit on the USD carbons?" And I have not had a chance to try it out yet.
Mm,
I've been busy, but it's on my list. So check this channel in the future. Now, okay. Ooh, so many.
missed that one. Oh,
Uh,
it's way up there. Okay. Got it.
okay, skins regiment. That's that. Beards are on point. How old? Okay,
That's my
guys.
brother.
Asking how old I am, and somebody says 27. You're way off. I am 46 years old. So I started skating.
Yeah,
I started
around in
skating
here.
the year that Ben was born.
Yeah,
So I started skating in 1989. Ben was born in 1989. I've been
that's
around
fact.
since the dawn of blading time, a relic
The
of the
legend,
past
the
that's
relic,
still here somehow. So
the
anyway, thank you
absolute
for
legend.
watching. And but I definitely look at I feel like thank you JT for thinking 27. That's so kind of you.
Super kind.
Okay.
My brother's in the chat. I'm sure he's very happy to be here. Hey,
Next
Bill.
next question I have is Jan, did you say you lived in Austin? And if so, what brought you back up north? So I'm
Mm.
not back up north. I was born in Austin, Texas. Raised there, went to school. I lived in Germany for a little bit when I was a kid, but um, I lived in Austin until 1999 when I moved to San Diego, California to work for Daily Bread magazine. So I lived there until 2012 and then moved back to Austin in 2012 and then moved to Vermont in 2017 for my first time up north. So I do love it up here. I love the weather. I love the skiing. The skating has been a little bit difficult because I'm very rural, but now that the borders opened to Quebec, it is skate heaven over there. Within an hour and a half of my house, I've discovered 2 puck tracks, 6 skate parks, and tons of trails for skating, all in Quebec across the border. So way
Let's
better than anything I
go.
have to skate here in Vermont or New Hampshire or even Mass. So it's cool, and the blade scene in Quebec and Montreal is really big. Lots of skaters. So I'm definitely stoked that the borders open again because it's been 2 years I haven't been able to cross. All right. Uh, Eric Lopez has a question, which is I'm getting a compass frame, and wheels 72 setup. Is that a good entry level size, or should I go bigger? 72 setup it's a good entry level size. It's definitely on the smaller side of things, but it's it's a good size for you to learn how to skate a bigger wheel. I definitely do recommend going up later. Uh, I think good sizes for people playing around with big wheel blading is 80 millimeter is pretty standard, and then 90 millimeter, and then there are some 84 millimeter setups from Rollerblade. Going on to and those are all 4 wheel setups. Then when you get up to 3 wheels, they have 3x90, 3x100, 3x110, 3x125. I think 3x125 is going to be the most difficult for anyone who's not used to big wheels to skate. However, they do make skating on really awful terrain, like badly paved roads with potholes and debris, a lot easier. So you just need to be a little bit more advanced of a skater to skate those. And you're in the 110. You skated 125, Ben?
I have not. Nope. Mm-mm. Which I wanted to touch on that for just a second, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
because maybe it's just me, um, but I feel like it's. I don't know because I feel like I'm a relatively experienced skater, but it seems like these I found it like you have to really be a little bit thoughtful about when you're transitioning to these big wheels. Like if you have never skated them before, at least that's my feeling. And I wanted to hear your thoughts because it seems like there's not a whole lot of discussion about like you have so much more like leverage on these huge wheels
Mm-hmm.
that they can be a little bit more difficult to get up hills, a little bit more difficult to slow down, to turn. Sometimes you have so much more like kinetic energy that it seems like it's not talked about a whole lot in terms of getting into it safely. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I agree. One of the questions I asked Matthias in his interview I did was, should beginners get 125 millimeter skates? And he said no,
Hmm.
beginners shouldn't get 125 millimeter skates because they typically don't come with brakes. There's a few models of the Rex skates on the 3 by that come with brakes, like the ones my girlfriend got, the Power Slide, Fusion Argons come with brakes. But all right, but the you got it. What do you
Let me get
get?
my skates that have a brake on them.
All right, so
Just a timely discussion.
that's the Impalas with a brake.
Haven't skated them yet,
So I'm going to ask you
but
about those Impalas. So keep those next to you for
okay.
future discussion. But as far as being a beginner, so no 125, maybe not even 110. Like if you're a beginner, if you're a good aggressive skater, then it really doesn't matter what skates you can skate anything. But if you're like new to aggressive skating and you're new to skating, start with an 80 or 90. And if you do want to get a 3 by setup, do a 3 by 110 or 3 by 100 max. I really do enjoy the 3 by setups, and Blading his dad asks about that, which is his question is why 3 wheels? What advantages of 3 wheels versus 4 wheels? So, for me personally, I believe that the argument of speed is there's people going to go both ways. Some people say the 3 time 125 is faster than say like a 4 by 80 or 5 by 80 or whatever. But they are fast, especially on hills. I do like the fact, like I said, you can go over really bad terrain a lot easier with the bigger wheels. You don't get wheel bite with pebbles as easy, if at all. One thing I do recommend, this is for any size skate. This is a terrible fall I had was when you lace your skates, make sure the laces are underneath the buckle closure when you close them, because I didn't do that one day skating and my skate got untied and the lace went in the spoke of my front wheel and I'm just cruising along super fast and next thing I know I'm like face on the ground. Like I just stopped face plant. And definitely if you're new to skating or if you've been around and you don't do this, make sure to put your laces underneath the buckle when you tighten them. Um,
I'm definitely going to do it on the Impalas because I don't want it to get in there either.
Yeah, same thing. Um, Other advantages of the 3 wheels is personally I believe they're a little bit more maneuverable when you have the wheels with like the 3 by 100 with a short wheel base where the wheels are close together. They're really easy to maneuver. You do have some rocker options on some of the frames. I like the height. For me, I like the height. I feel like I'm like floating and I'm just like looking down more at stuff. Some people swear that the 4 by 80s are just good enough, but I'd like the look. One thing for me is I really like the look of it. It doesn't look like a traditional inline skate to me, and I've always had that comment from people on the street being like, what are those?" Like they don't even associate them with inline skates, really, because they don't look like your traditional inline skate. And then you're like, it's a 3 wheel inline skate or whatever, but. It's a lot of it boils down to personal preference. I know some people have gotten into try skating and then they didn't like it and went back to 4 by 80s or 4 by 90s. I think, but yeah. So you just have to play around with it. If you have friends with setups, borrow their frames. Take them off, take people's frames off, put them on. I know that you have people bringing you things to unbox all the time. So most people in skating know some people that have something you can try out.
Totally. I will say those marathon skates look super sick. I like the long wheelbase. They look
They're
great.
really fun, and like I mentioned, the longer wheelbase it's the harder it is to skate, like to stop and slow down. So you don't really want those for urban skating. Like if you have to stop, you can't stop like very easily.
Like on railroad tracks.
You know,
Right.
if you're
Yeah.
going on a flat trail, really nice. But I would not skate those long wheelbases when you're on like a night skate or in the city, and you really have to stop. And learning how to stop on big wheel skates is important too, especially the tri
Huge.
skates. Without the brakes, like you need to know how your basics of stopping before you go out into the city. Know how to jump up a curb, know how to jump down a curb, know how to skate backwards, know how to turn around. Like there's a lot of things to learn before you take some big wheel blades onto the streets. And obviously, a lot of people watching this show already know how to, they've been around for a long time, know how to skate. But I'm sure there's a few people who are new to it that, don't know these things yet.
I have a question for you. Whenever you
Uh huh.
whenever you're ready.
Yeah, go for it.
Um, I guess it's well. My question is, I guess I haven't been brave enough to try yet because I'm still feel like I'm getting the hang of this. But what's the deal with stair bashing with tri skates? Is it a thing? Is it possible?
Stair bashing with tri skates is possible, but it's a hell of a lot easier and less scary on a four wheel setup.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was gathering. Yeah.
it's like dropping in on a mini ramp. I don't know if you've ever tried to
Mhm.
drop in on a transition with a three wheel setup. When you drop in on a ramp on aggressive skates, or you drop in the middle, you plan on the middle of the frame, right? Well,
Right.
on the tri skates, the middle frame is a wheel, and I've seen many a good aggressive skater eat serious shit trying to drop in on a tri skate like 110, 3x110 or something like that. Um, and I see people do stair rides on 3x110 or whatever. I think it's just you have these deep grooves here. I don't know if your frames are a little bit closer because these are a little wider,
They
but
are for sure.
you can get them caught in there. Like it's definitely sketchier on the. Did you ever do them on normal skates? Have you done stair bashes?
I have. Mike McFly, who's in the chat right now, is like a master of stair bashes. That's like his go-to. He has like a clip in one of the videos in Florida from a big stair bash in Tallahassee. But no, I'm not. I've done stair bashes, but I'm not like great at them.
See, stair
Um,
bashes was back when I started in the '90s. That's all you did. You did stair gaps and stair bashes, and I loved them. And I would try to find the steepest, skinniest stairs to escape. To stair bash backwards. Backwards is easier than forwards. I mean, forwards is not super hard, but you have more control going backwards. And then you can get the crab or the side surf down the stairs, which I always like doing that too. Or, the kind of like late 180 into the stair, these freaky stair ride were always fun. So I did a lot of stair rides, a lot back in the day. I haven't done too many in my later life. I was actually thinking the other day it would be fun to go do some stair rides, but I don't really have. There's not even any stairs where I live. like,
mm,
like in town, it's such a small village. So yeah, I'm definitely. I think I'm making some stair ride videos. We should do some stair ride videos and share them with each other.
I'm down. I'm down. I was just talking to Michael Weitzman. I don't. I feel like I butcher his name every time, but I just messaged him. I was like, "Hey man, we should do like a YouTube game of Blade. Like, I'll send you a couple tricks, and you send me a couple tricks or something."
Yeah, that kid's really
Um,
good, and I like his channel.
he's awesome, man. He usually pops up in the chat too. Um, he's pretty active on being in these chats. I feel like so. Another question for you. I'm being selfish, Jan.
Uh huh.
Did you ever do any like indoor speed skating, indoor skating, big wheel stuff?
I never did indoor speed skating. I
Yeah.
did. Okay, when I in the '90s, there's a roller rink in Austin called Playland, and I used to go there a lot with my mom because both my parents also inline skated in the '90s. So there was a
Mhm.
place in Austin called the Rollway. It's still there. It's actually in good condition now. It's paved. It's a 3.5 mile loop in South Austin just for inline skating and cycling. So you should check that out when you go to Austin. Do a video on it. It's pretty
Okay.
cool. But my parents, even when I moved to California in '99, they went there for like 10 years, skated there. But I skated the rink with them in Austin with my mom. We would go to adult night and just skate around in circles. And then fast forward when I was back in Austin between 2012 and 2017, even before COVID, Austin already had a big revival of inline skating and roller skating. So we would go to the roller rink with our aggressive skating crew would go down to the rink a couple times a month, was a lot of fun, but nothing really proper as far as like speed skating clubs or any.
Sure.
For me, skating's never been about joining like a club or.
Yeah.
And speed skating is also very different. Speed skaters are very different from the rest of inline skaters. Aggressive skaters, the slalom skaters, the urban skaters, are all the same type of people generally. They can get along very well. The speed skaters are a lot more like conservative. It's a lot more like parents trying to take charge of the kids. When aggressive and slalom, the kids are on their own, right?
Right.
So it's a
Be
lot
home
more
after. Yeah.
structured and I read these. I'm in some of these Facebook groups with speed skaters and their drama. You think the aggressive skating drama is bad? It's way worse than speed skating. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Really.
It's all it is angry parents, bitching all the
Oh.
time. So, that's kind of funny. I had a question about my skin regime. So
Oh yeah.
let's
Yeah.
see. Okay, so no way. What's your on skin regimen? Asking the real questions. So, unlike Benjamin, I don't have to have a filter on my camera to make me look beautiful. This is all natural. I don't do anything. I wake up in the morning, I take a shower, I like brush my beard, I shave this area here once a week, and that's it. You know, so it's been working out pretty good. I think that's probably why, because I haven't done anything to it. But actually, I'm just joking with you, Ben. I've seen your photos without a beard. Very, very handsome gentleman.
Thank you.
All right. I know there's some more questions. Okay, we got. Here's somebody who may have been in the Air Force, child or something. They were. T. Verocco says, "Oh no, wait, we're in Germany. I was born in Landstuhl. Well,
Mm.
my mom's from Germany. She's from Baden-Württemberg. She's from a town called Kratzheim. It's halfway in between Stuttgart and Nuremberg. Um, After my dad was stationed in the army in Germany. That's where I met my mom. And after he got out, they got married, moved to Texas, had me. And when I was about 6 months old, they moved back to Germany. My dad went to university in Freiburg. So that's where I lived the entire time I lived there in villages outside of Freiburg. So, yeah. And German was my first language. I have a dual citizenship passport, U.S. and German passports. So that's always nice. If all goes to hell, I can go anywhere in the EU. And then what else? Okay, here's a question for you, Ben. Are you ready to answer it?
I
It
think so.
is. Ben, would love to see you learn some wizard skating on the channel. What do you guys think of wizard stuff? Sorry if this was discussed already. Well, we haven't discussed wizard skating, and I'm going to let you go first, Ben. Would we potentially see any, or will we be seeing any potential wizard skating from you on the channel?
Well, I mean, if you saw one of my most recent videos, I mean, no, I'm kidding. I got the budget wizard set up. That's the thing. And so you mentioned before that, like, earlier, it's like, hey, you don't want to like back yourself into one thing. It's not like I'm just going to do aggressive. I'm just going to do distance or urban. Um, and I'm the same way, but at the same time too, it's like with the channel, I feel like I'm a little bit torn because right now I'm kind of focusing on the big wheel urban and recovering to get back to aggressive. And then I'm a little bit torn on how many different layers of skating I'm going to try to pile on top of each other if I add wizard skating. And I don't think that's like a small financial endeavor either, from what I from what I understand. Um, and my thing too is like the really good wizard skaters. They make it look really amazing and really like, I don't want to say easy, but very just smooth. Um, when I watch wizard skating, I'm extremely impressed. And I also am thinking in the back of my head, you can still eat a lot of shit on wizard skating. At least is what it looks like to me.
That's for sure.
Maybe I'm just oversimplifying it. But for right now, I'm gonna say it's a tentative, like in the near to mid future, a maybe. But right now, I'm honestly just focused on like recovering and trying to stay in shape, and honestly get back to some grinder blading because it's sort of sucking my soul dry, not like doing switch ups and skating park, honestly.
So for wizard skating, for me, one reason I never got into it. Well, I think it's awesome. I love watching it, but like you say, it's expensive. The wizard frames themselves are very expensive, and now you do have cheaper options with Endless and NN and Raka, and there's all sorts of wizard knockoff frames now. They're very similar for half the cost, so it's definitely easier to get into it. Which I would like to get a pair of frames this year to play around on. I think that footwork, the footwork is great practice and it's beneficial for aggressive skating. That's why I think slalom, like cone skating, if you watch the footwork that they have, it's mind blowing. And if you could take that footwork to aggressive skating, like for switch ups and how you approach a rail and how you approach a spot, and you see that in aggressive skating now, you could tell that how much wizard skating moves or mushroom blade moves have influenced aggressive skaters on the way they like go into a spot or slide into a trick or slide out of a trick or whatever. And I think it's really cool. And it's like that flatland skating. You can do it everywhere. It's like flatland skateboarding in the 80s and 90s. Like it's something you could do if you lived in the middle of nowhere where there's just one parking lot. You can flatland skate all day long. So that opens up options for people who don't necessarily live in a good place to do aggressive skating or distance skating or anything like that. And yeah, I love watching it. I love watching Mike Torres, some of those guys, just who do a fantastic job and make it look so sick. And you're right. I guarantee you, if I attempted 90% of their tricks, I would eat shit on my face. Are you going to pull up some clips?
I was going to, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, let me know when you have it up. And
Okay.
let me go ahead and pull it over here. And oops. I'm getting you the clip right now.
Okay.
If I could figure out how to. It's not up yet.
Oh, my brother's doing an unboxing.
All right.
Yeah,
You're up at the Wizard. Which one is this?
this is Wizard of Wall Street.
Oh, yeah. Wizard Wall Street. That's a great video. I actually interviewed Mike Torres for the Big Wheel Blading website about this video and project. So I'll put a link in the description below if you guys haven't seen it.
Absolutely.
John Ortiz actually shot some cool photos during these sessions too.
Back to what you were saying, actually, with the Kelsos, you watch their footwork and just the extreme level of control that they demonstrate with some of these tricks that, on these ledges and rails and whatever. It's like they make it look so easy in a way. But it's like one of those things where you watch and it's like, even if once you try it, you realize it's very far from being anything close to easy.
Oh, it's
Holy
amazing.
cow.
I mean, the Kelsos are an anomaly. I mean, they've done every type of skating and mastered it all.
Oh my god, you're right. It's absolutely mind blowing. Is there? Okay, there we go. I was going to ask if we could have all three of us on
Yeah, I got
the channel.
heard rumors. Let me go a couple questions. Heard rumors of a Shadow Legacy released by Powerside. Old style with wraps. Anybody else heard anything about this? And that is not a rumor. It is fact. It was brought up by Matthias himself, the owner of Powerside, in the podcast episode I did with him on this channel. So make sure you go look into this channel, to the Matthias Knoll Done and Out Blading podcast episode I did. He talks all about the Legacy skates. He talks about Iqon, Destroyal, Powerside, his history in the sport. He's a skater. It's like a skater-owned Powerside and Destroyer skater-owned. He's been skating since he was 5 years old and never stopped. He might not be an aggressive skater, but he's a skater. So, he talks about the Legacy skate. They're going to have the old style foot wraps. It's going to be the old style Shadow. So that is coming out. And so 4Down asks, have you seen the Rocca 6-wheel frames Ricardo has been testing? I haven't seen Ricardo's testing of them. I have seen the frames. I know that they're basically the same thing as the Wizard Advanced frame. The 6 wheels that are rockered, and they look pretty cool. Have you seen those, Ben?
I have not. No.
Yeah, you can check them out. Obviously on Ricardo Lino's channel, he's been testing those out. There's some edits of The last edit of Leon that we're watching right now is that
Hmm.
advanced frame video for the new frame that he put out, and it's pretty
Hmm.
crazy the type of stuff he's doing, like skating on rocks and weird terrain.
It's trippy, trippy. Giving rollerblading a whole new perspective. I've definitely seen Lino's clips on Instagram, but I haven't seen his videos just yet on the tube.
All right, here's somebody that is. This is for you, Ben. I'm sad Benjamin stopped aggressive skating. Aw.
Martin.
He didn't
Martin
really
is
stop. He didn't really stop. He's just injured.
it was a joke. It was a joke. Yeah, no. So I'm absolutely dying to get back to grinding ledges and jumping and doing switch ups. So make no mistake, as soon as I feel that I'm healthy, we're going to be back to Shred Town, USA, or at least my version of it.
I see here that T. Verocco went to trivia night with Isaac Altmans a couple days ago. That's pretty rad. You know Isaac Altmans? He is the guy who runs uh, uh, what's the brand?
Familiar.
I can't think right now. It's the wheels from that like Halfy's favorite wheel.
Isaac Altman?
Eulogy.
Oh,
It's
Eulogy. Okay.
yeah. Isaac Altmans does Eulogy. They did like Blood Wheels back in the day. Was the same, and he's been around for a long time from the Bay Area. And
Yeah.
it's Eulogy's part of Bones, the skateboard brand.
What?
That's
I
why they
didn't know
have.
that.
Yeah, that's why Eulogy wheels have always been so good. It's the only wheel with that formula. I know that they did a couple of wheels for other people. I think they did some wheels for Heat Urethane
Mm.
with Tori Trasuter back in the day. Um,
Is that Tori's
we
brand?
yeah, it was Tori's brand, Tori and
Uh,
Sayer, and now they're doing a new is their new brand. But we had talked to them about doing wheels through with 4x4, but they were really expensive. First of all, it was almost the same price to get one wheel from them as it was to get four wheels from our other manufacturer. And then they wanted to have some sort of eulogy logo on them as well, so didn't do it. But yeah, the eulogy wheels are great. They've always been really good, and Isaac is definitely a legend. Been around for a long time. I haven't seen him in at least 20 years, so that's cool that you hung out with him at trivia night.
what do you think about the new Roadhouse wheels? Yeah.
The Roadhouse
I
wheels.
guess when I say new Roadhouse wheels, I guess the re-released. Yeah. The new
Um,
Randy Spicer re-release.
they're probably safer than the old ones. you know,
Why do you say that?
just because the
I
old
never
ones
skated on.
they'll probably break now if you skated them.
Oh,
As far as like,
yeah.
I think they're really cool. I like the collaboration with the artists that they did with the cards, and I actually got a set of the cards. I saw your
Nice.
video where you opened them because I
Yeah.
was really curious what was
Like,
inside of them, but I wanted
right.
them and not I didn't want to open them because I want to keep them sealed. So I was
Sure.
glad you opened them so I could see them. Fritz from Carriers actually sent me a unopened package for my collection,
Yeah.
so that was nice
Very
of them.
nice.
I think the wheels are cool. I think, I mean, yeah, it's a playing off nostalgia, involving a lot of cool people. A bunch of skaters that really weren't part of that era. With in the edit and stuff. Obviously Julio was, but yeah, I mean it's cool. It's always cool to see blading products, and people love nostalgia. That's one reason people like this. Some of the shows on this channel because the vault and the all the old footage I have is very nostalgic, and
Facts.
some of the guests I have on, it's people from that era. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about them?
I think they're sick. I think they're fun. Like, um, I just love that they're, like Crayola themed skate wheels. Like, I'm the type of guy that doesn't try to take myself too seriously. Like, I'm just like, man, we're all a bunch of grown men rolling around on wheels. Like at the end of the day, let's just have fun and not take everything too crazy seriously. And just remember what, like Ricardo Lino says, remember why we all do this is because it's fun. And so I like that those wheels are kind of fun, multicolored, just fun rainbow sort of
I want
deals.
to ask you about the those wheels that you have, not the wheels, the skates, the Impala skates. Now, the Impala skates are weird to me because they the brand is playing off the nostalgia of inline skating in the 90s. So what did they do? They came out with just 30-year-old technology and and sold it now. And it's like,
Right.
I mean, it looks cool. They look cool. The colors, I think they did a really cool job with the color schemes. But when you think about the skate, it's just like they took some 30-year-old, mold or whatever and are reselling it and
And probably making a killing.
make a killing, and they're not involved in the industry, so none of that money goes back into it. Even though they are sponsoring Blading Cup this year, which is cool, so they are putting a little bit back into it. They are one of the
Probably
main sponsors
the
of Blading
lowest,
Cup, but and it's probably because of roller skate, like you said. But still,
the
it's just
cloth.
weird that they. And then Rossi's came out with their kind of old skates, but I think they're a little bit better made. But
Yeah,
definitely, I can't wait to see you skate those and give your impressions on what you think.
I was gonna go. I was gonna go today. And you know what's funny is we were just talking about stair riding, stair bashing, and I was like, "Cool, man, I'm gonna go stair bash." Oh, by the way, my brother called me right out because on the video when I'm like, "Hey, let me show you how to install your brake," I totally installed the wheel with like the label not correctly oriented. So
Oh, bae, that's bad.
my
Very
brother
bad,
lets
Ben.
my brother lets nothing slide. He sees everything.
That's funny.
So yeah, no, I'm pumped to skate these. I'm gonna. So really, the reason I bought these is, and again, my kind of feeling towards this because I hear you, right? It's like Impala. I think they're a skate. I don't know if they like originally were a skateboard brand and
Yeah, I
then got
believe
into
it's
roller skating.
it's related to skateboarding. It's kind of like they have a
Right,
parent company that's a skateboard brand.
right. So part of me is torn. I'm like, okay, are they just trying to profit on this resurgence of like retro sort of fun girly rollerblading, or and then the other half of me is like, well, if you're on rollerblades, there's a chance that you're gonna get into aggressive skating and then actually support the true skater owned businesses. So I'm kind of torn. What do you, I mean, for me,
Well,
I see it as a segue potentially.
my feeling on that is if you start out with a subpar skate as your first skate, you might not want to skate anymore anyway. Because you're like, if you're gonna start skating, you want to invest a little bit of money into a skate that's decent. I'm not saying you bought like you wasted your money on shitty skates, but I'm saying, you know, that if you like get a bad taste in your mouth with your first skate, you might not buy another pair of skates.
Totally. Couldn't
And
agree
I
more.
feel like I see this too with like aggressive skaters that want to get their girlfriends to skating and they buy them, like an aggressive setup with 56 millimeter wheels, and the girls just skate around the parking lot. It's all gravel and stuff. It's not any fun.
Right.
They're not having fun. They'd be better off with an 80 millimeter setup so they could actually skate around and have some fun. So
Right.
that kind of turns
Exactly.
them off from that too. So I definitely think getting your foot in a good skate to start with will keep you skating a lot longer.
I think
Unless you
that's a fantastic
and
point.
but obviously there's a person who their parents maybe can't afford good skates and they get them a skate and they just love it and they'll skate the shit out of it for 4 years until they finally can get good ones, which that's the case for a lot of people too. So it's
Right.
up in the air. But here's a question from Mister Somebody. How many skate setups do you guys have? So for me, I'll go first. I have I don't know, a lot. I have aggressive skate setups. I have a pair of carbon frees. The I can't remember whose names they are, but I have a pair of carbon frees, and then I have the Eugen Eden carbon frees, and then I have the AG10s and AG20s, which I just got, and I have a Lomax Aeons, and then I have about 10 pairs of free skates. Uh, so I have quite a bit of skates right now, and I don't have any old skates. So I kind of give them away or sell some of them along the way. I skated razors for a long time for aggressive skates, and I got rid of those because I didn't like them anymore because they make too much noise. And my skates that I broke my back in, I sold those because I didn't want to see them anymore around the house, and those were Flying Eagles. So now somebody has the skates I broke my back in. What about you, Ben?
What was the question? Sorry.
The question was, how many pairs of skates do you have?
This is so funny. This is such a timely question because I literally was thinking about making a video either today, not it won't be today, but maybe this weekend, maybe Saturday, where I actually make a video of all the skates that I have, at least in my possession right now. Um, so how many pairs of skates do I have? I think it's like four. I can look, but I think it's like that I own because right now I have two pairs of Sam Brownlee skates. He let me unbox the white 909s yesterday, which he's coming back next week, and we're gonna jam on Wednesday. He's out in Midland working, and then I also have his USD like farmers, the farmer sways, and so I think total the of skates that I actually personally own, I think it's four. Two Colts. It's really like three Colts. I have three Colt boots, if you want to call it that, the open mold, right? Because I have
Right.
like 7/8 the yellow ones, the black ones, and now I have the Impala, like a bunch of Colts. So three, and then the big wheels makes four, and then yeah, so four skates right now. So nothing too crazy.
I mean, that's good though. I just, I've been collecting them for a while, and people hook them up there occasionally. So, um, and I skated the shit out of the Flying Eagles. I actually had quite a bit when I was skating in Austin in 2016 or 2016, 2017. I skated Flying Eagles quite a bit, and they were pretty good. But you can't really get them in the states because they don't have distribution. And
I was gonna
that's
ask.
the thing with Flying Eagle's unique because it is a Chinese brand,
Mm.
and they're huge in China. They have like something like 180 stores and skating, like actual skating rinks with lessons in malls throughout China. So you go into a mall and there's a Flying Eagle shop that has a skating rink, and they give lessons. Anytime you buy skates, you get free lessons. And
Wow.
and the couple that owns Flying Eagle, like I believe that the husband is from a factory family, but him and his wife are skaters. Like they've always skated, so it is a Flying Eagle is a skater owned brand, which
Mm.
you wouldn't necessarily think that with some of the Chinese brands, but the people behind Flying Eagle all skate, and they do a lot for skating in China. And for some reason, they haven't been able to break into the U.S. market very big. I know
Mm.
that they're pretty big in Spain and places around the world, but yeah, it's believe it or not, Flying Eagle is a skater-owned brand, and it's pretty cool. What they've done. I have some articles on Big Wheel Blading about some of those camps and shops that they do. I have a question from Mike McFly for me. Oh boy, this is a good one. Jan, you are known for your video companies and big wheel blading. What's the biggest, craziest trick you ever landed on or off camera?
Mm.
Well, on camera, probably nothing too exciting because I never really got filmed. But off camera, well, growing up skating at the University of Texas in Austin, I was lucky because it's like at the time it was just a massive skate park. There's downstairs ledges everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere, of all heights, from this tall to super tall ledges and rails and whatever. And I loved skating down ledges. And I think the trick that I remember being the most stoked on doing was a Unity down. It was like maybe a 12 stair, really kind of high ledge granite. Where you got to gap out like a couple steps afterwards. So that was probably like the best trick I ever did. I did some weird wheelbarrow tricks off of some like flat like ledges that go straight out over stairs, maybe like 12 stairs, like wheelbarrow, like which if you don't know wheelbarrow, it's like your back foot's a royale and the front foot's rolling,
Mm-hmm.
like all the way off that. But yeah, I don't have much. I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, when I skated the best, no one ever filmed me because I was filming everyone else. So I never really had too many clips. I've had a few clips here and there. Some of my favorite clips are like newer ones. There's a clip of me doing a kind grind at a skate park, which it's nothing. It's not gnarly, but I like it. It's like a down ledge at a skate park, down a bank. So yeah, not too many clips, but now I'm old and decrepit. So we'll see if I can pull anything off that's cool anymore.
You still got it.
And then we have a lot of chat going on in this chat room. I haven't been following it. It's a little harder to follow it with this program, I think, than with the other one.
I agree.
But this program seems to have more features to it. I don't
Mm.
know. I don't know how it looks on your end.
It's pretty basic on my end for sure. It's very
Okay.
limited.
Yeah, on this
I
end
wish I
it's
could.
got a bunch of stuff, but it's not as user friendly as the other one we use.
Hmm.
All right. Um, I will say one thing that no one asked in this so far here, but it was something people asked me when I did the unboxing of the AG10s, and that's the new liner, the new Prime liner from MyFit that's in the AG10s and AG20s. People had assumed that it was the same tongue or the same liner that's in the Eugen USDs and in the Mesmer Bellinos, and it's not. So I got confirmation it's not the same liner. It's the AG10 and AG20 use the same liner, and the Eugen liner and the Bellino liner use the same tongue. So the new PU tongue that's in the AG10 and AG20 liner is the same tongue that's in the Eugen USD and the Bellino skate, but the rest of the liner is completely different. So this is more of a premium liner in the Iqon skates. Okay. Yeah, let me see. Do you have any other questions, Ben, while I look through here?
Well, I was going to ask you if you got a chance to try on those AG10s yet.
I haven't. I've been out of town so much this week, So I
Hmm.
filmed the unboxing video for AG20, and I'm filming the unboxing or the comparison video of the AG10s and AG20s this weekend. And in that video, I'm gonna compare the fit of them. I'm gonna put them both on, compare them to each other. I'm gonna try to compare them to maybe my other, to my Eugen Enon USDs and see how to compare. And then next week sometime I'll actually start skating them and trying them out.
Hmm.
But I didn't want to mess them up before I filmed them.
I hear you. I hear you. Because I ended up getting the 910 boot
Mm-hmm.
with, I'm sorry, the, I think it was the 8-9 boot with the 910 liner,
Okay.
because it seemed like Beat Free and a couple other people were doing, the team riders were doing that same thing where they would get a smaller boot and a larger liner. So that's what I did. I don't know if I'm shooting myself in the foot with that, because if I'm doing this review and if people aren't able to get that from Disroyal or from Iqon, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm not sure on the sizing yet. That's just because I haven't put them on. But I do know that
Yeah.
the Mesmer skates had sizing issues when they came out.
Right.
So the
Right.
second version of the Mesmer that's coming out, one sized up each liner for each skate size, and then after that it's going to be a completely redesigned liner.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't heard anything about the Icon skates, but they're just getting to people. So I assume
Yeah.
that the Icon skates, with how expensive they are, that they probably got it right the first time around. But
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah.
But
I messaged like literally every team rider on YouTube or on Instagram. I was just like a squeaky wheel, like, "Hey, this is my foot size. What do you think?" And that's what I ended up on. So we'll see what happens. To be determined.
okay, we got in the live chat. I'm still back to where we talked about wizard skating, but
Yeah.
JT says my biggest injury was from trying a wizard move. Don't be fooled; it's dangerous. I believe that. I believe it's dangerous. I think, especially with that longer wheelbase and maybe clipping the wheels too, like a crossover tricks and even hitting like pebbles, like you play skate a basketball court or something, hit a pebble, whatever.
It's a lot of energy moving around
Here's
with those things.
Martin bringing in some blade hate, I guess. I don't know. Basement isn't a name; it's a garage hobby.
Martin's a fun character. I'm not sure if you've seen Martin in the chat before, but he's been a viewer on my channel for a while now, and he definitely has some interesting comments. Thank you for watching, Martin.
Oh, and then here, Mike McFly just brought up exactly what we said, or what I said. The long frames
Hmm.
and wizard blading lead to surprise falls. When you're crossing over, you expectedly trip hard. And that's how it
There you
was
go.
that fall, when I got my laces caught in the wheels. I assume that's the similar type of fall you would take. Um, all right, here we go. This is one I like. The slowest hair. Jan, I just received my Denim Now shirt. Awesome shirt, bud. Thank you. thank you for supporting the channel and ordering a shirt. I do have shirts for sale. Link in the description below and on the website downandoutblading.com. Some different models. They're pretty rad. Check them out. The slowest hair approves. Thank you.
That's my brother Bill. Yeah,
Oh,
that's my
that's your
brother
brother.
Bill.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's your brother. I'm gonna be trying to meet up with him this summer sometime.
He's getting his channel
Since
going.
he's so close. Oh, now you guys are gonna have to battle each other.
Exactly. We're gonna have to. He's still got it big time. So I'm sure he's gonna be repping your merch on his channel.
And then Martin W purchased the Aragon White. Was that the Argon White or the Aragon White? Aragon would be Razors or the Power Slide Rex Skate to Argon. I'm not sure which one he got. But he got one of them. And William is enjoying these live streams. Thank you, William. This one had a rough start. I'd say half of them have had a rough start so far because I'm learning software. This is new software today. The first couple minutes, a little bit scattered, but I think it's going pretty good. And one thing I will say, I started doing these live streams after doing all the podcast episodes because I edited the podcast episodes because I'm uncomfortable in front of the camera or public speaking, and I've gotten a lot better with it doing those interviews. So talking with Ben is fun because it's like a way for me to practice speaking with someone else. What about you, Ben? Do you ever get nervous with public speaking or talking in front of the camera?
Man, a little bit, but I think just like you said, like when I was in real estate for a while, and I made a lot of content on real estate, and I did a lot of like networking and getting in front of people. I'm naturally kind of a recluse. Like I'm naturally just like in my little safe space, and but having so much exposure through real estate and through some other things to like getting in front of the camera instead of behind it. At this point, it's just like one deep breath, let's go, hit record. So
yeah, I still get nervous every time I do a live stream. I actually have another live stream, everyone, tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is in about 2.5 hours. And this one's with Andrew Leverton and Dave Gunn. It's about their new video, Better Than Now. And we're going to talk about their history, their skating. You have it pulled up there. Let me...
Yeah, just if they want to take a look at it.
Move it over. Okay. This is the video tonight with Andrew Leverton and Dave Gunn. We're going to talk about their new video, talk about Connecticut rollerblading, New England rollerblading. We're going to talk about them coming to Vermont, which is where I live, for my New England Blading Camp trip. They've been to all of them, and they've made videos about them. They also ski and snowboard and have done some edits of that. I've skied with them. Cool guys. You know, they're in my area, so they're doing cool things in Connecticut, which is about 4 hours south of me. More like 4 hours south of me. So, yeah.
I'm going to set a reminder.
Set the reminder, and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we traded sides again. I'm on the opposite side.
You got to keep everyone on their toes.
Yeah, right. So, okay. Now, William has a question and says, Ben visits you on the Skates Together video like you did with Mike McFly. That's not out of the question because we had just mentioned Ben's brother lives in Maine, which he lives about 3 hours from me. So it's close enough for me to pop over if he visits his brother, or maybe we could meet somewhere in between. So it's definitely, I don't know if you have any plans to visit your brother anytime this year, but if you do, we can make a video about it.
100%. So once we'll talk offline on that, but my brother and I have already talked about that, and maybe we can even coincide it with some comp or something that's nearby, or some kind of meetup or something too.
Cool. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on. I mean, there's also my summer camp thing I do, so maybe that's an option.
Right.
I don't have the date set, but it's going to be I'm thinking end of June, beginning of July.
Okay.
This year, because usually it's in August, and I want to have it to where has more daylight, because it usually gets dark so early. So I want to have it to where you can skate 2 parks every day and then swim at a really cool swimming spot without having to worry about it getting dark. Here's some question for you, Ben, and this is a pretty good one.
Okay.
Is Ben rich, jobless?
Oh, Martin always asks the good questions.
Or entrepreneur.
Or entrepreneur.
Or
So you know,
or
I've been at
sorry,
or
or strange.
strange. Jeez. Martin never fails to impress in the comment section. Martin W, you're always the greatest. I've been like asked a few times of like, Ben, how do you have so much time to just like goof off and make skate videos? I am not gonna go too deep into that now, but I um, I really am just taking a kind of a hiatus. I did 10 years in the Air Force. You know, had a lot of fun. Invested in some real estate and stuff like that, and now I'm just kind of embracing this YouTube channel for a little while and just being sort of a full-time YouTuber type guy for now. So we'll see where it goes.
Perfect. And you did real estate in San Antonio?
I did, yeah.
That's a good
But
place.
yeah, I got into it. I feel like quote unquote at the right time, and I think ended up getting out at the right time and made some other investments, and so it all worked out. And so part of that allows me to make videos and
Yeah.
have fun.
You're definitely at the
Like
right
this.
place, right time for that. Especially now
Yeah,
that Austin, San Antonio, almost one big metroplex.
I'm saying, man, it's almost like DFW, but down here for sure.
Yep. So Launder has a question: who owns Dead Wheels? And that is Adam Johnson. Adam Johnson
Hmm.
has made many amazing skate videos. Also owns Vibra Lux, and has worked on some other brands throughout the years.
I was telling my brother because I unboxed those. I mean, you saw me unbox those Randy Spicer wheels, but the packaging that they came in was directly from Adam Johnson. Like the return address was
Yeah, I
Adam
saw
Johnson.
that. I
So
watched that video. That was a video I
yeah,
had to like, because you're the only person I saw that opened that.
yeah,
Mainly because
yeah.
I
I was
think a
like,
lot of people were like, should I open it or should I keep it?
right, like what do I do? These are collector's items.
It's
And
like
Jeremy,
you need two of them.
right, exactly. One to open and one to not.
I saw somebody post on the Rollerblading Facebook page today that they just got the Garbage Pail Kids card with an inline skater on it. I forgot what it was called. Something
Mm,
Blader, Andy Blader or something. And I looked them up and they're from 2019, so they're like a kind of a nostalgia re-release type of thing. But anyway, I had to order one. It was 99 cents
nice,
on eBay to order one, so can't beat that.
nice.
Put
Yeah,
that in
I
the
can't.
collection. Um, okay, Daniel's got a question for you, which is Ben. You should review some Aeon 80s at some point. It would be great if you're looking to do more big wheel stuff.
Definitely considered that. Definitely considered it. I even considered it before I bought the AG, not AG, but the FRX 310s. Um, Considered it. I'm not sure. I may look into it. I may talk to Fritz and see if we can work something out. But that could be in the works for sure.
I think the 80. I mean, I haven't skated any Aeons. I just got some. I haven't put them on yet.
Oh, yeah, you got the
I got the
Lomaxes. I saw
60s Lomaxes, and I think I skated the GC big frames when they came out. I believe they were like 72 millimeter, because I wanted to do like a big wheel aggressive setup, and they were pretty fun. Except they were a lot harder to do top sides on because the frame was so long, and that's why I like the Wish frames because you have a big wheel, but you don't have the tall frame. And I feel like with the Aeon 80, is gonna have a pretty tall frame to make top sides more difficult. Obviously, I haven't skated them, so I'm not sure, but that's just kind of my fear about the Aeon 80s.
They
Um,
look dope. But, yeah, we'll see.
okay, Martin asks, why is Rollway the company so underground? I don't know if they're underground. Maybe in aggressive skating, but I mean, it's one of the biggest companies in the world for skating, so definitely not underground. If you're referring to aggressive skating, they definitely were in a back burner for a while. They have the blank skate now, but you can get rollerblade skates pretty much at any store. They have two brands. They have the Rollerblade brand that you're familiar with, and then they have their entry level skates, the Blade Runner brand, which you can get at any like mass sports store chain store is going to have Blade Runner, or some of like the lower end rollerblade skates because they do have sub $100 rollerblade brand skates as well. So it's just they focus heavily on entry level skates and recreational. So I definitely wouldn't say they're underground. What's your opinion, Ben?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, Martin. I don't. I think if anything, they're kind of like the not underground brand, but that's just my opinion.
And then
I mean,
Mike,
if some,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead and finish if you had anything to
No,
say.
that was it. That was it. I was just rambling.
And then Mike McFly says, "I'm not mad Impala Skates exist, but if you need to recommend skates to someone new, I tell them to buy them skates 80s." Uh, yeah, I think that depends on what type of skating we're doing. If somebody's only going to rec skate, I wouldn't recommend an aggressive boot with an 80 millimeter frame. I would recommend a rec skate that's going to be lighter and more streamlined for just rec skating. If somebody's trying to into both, then sure, them skate 80s would be good. But they think it's still an aggressive boot, a little bit bulkier, a little heavier. And I would, if I'm gonna go in aggressive skating, maybe I'd recommend just get some Denim skates, because especially some of those with the intuition liners that they have now, because they look very comfortable. Which I haven't skated them skates either, because again, they're also fairly expensive. Have you skated them?
I have never skated them. I was under the impression that like 99.9% of skaters nowadays have skated them, and we're in the. But it seems like there's still a healthy amount of people that haven't really skated them. So, no, I'm excited to try them out. I reached out to Fritz to buy a pair of the white ones, um, but I think he was sold out at the time or something, and I ended up buying I ended up getting hurt, and I got the FRXs and stuff instead. So
Yeah, I
one of
think
these
that
days,
them skates. It's well, I think the thing with new skates come out, there's a lot of vocal people get when they get them.
right?
So with Mesmers was the same thing, and then blank skates. There was that same thing like right when it came out. It's always like trippy to me to see how fast people like sell their new skates. Like they skated
Oh
them,
yeah,
like they put them on once, and they're like sell them, because I feel like with sometimes skates need to break in. It's like ski boots. Like my
right,
ski boots murder my feet for like the first 10 times I use them, and then after 10 times, like I broke into the liner and they feel fantastic. So
right,
just get rid of something like the first time, unless it like really like has issues. But I feel like a lot
right.
of people get rid of skates pretty fast.
Oh no, I agree. My brother and I were talking about this the other day, where it's like either Mesmers or whatever come out, and literally the next day, someone's like, "Yeah, I tried them on, skated them for 4 minutes, and then didn't like them, so I'm selling them." But hey, if that's what they want to do, and keeps the secondary market for rollerblades liquid.
No, for sure, for sure. Now, inline warehouse carries flying eagle is what blading his dad says, and cool. So if anybody is interested in flying eagles, you can check out Inline Warehouse. I know Pro Skaters Place has them too, I believe, which is a shop out of Toronto, but they're not that widely available in most stores. Okay. Uh, it says, okay, Renee wants to know if. Are you going to Blading Cup?
Jan, I'm torn. I'm torn because again, I'm on a slightly limited budget, and
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a 4 day event,
It
so it would
is.
be like four or five night stay, including airfare, including food, etc. So I'm a little bit torn. I'm still not a hard no, but it's kind of a slight, more of a slight maybe. But you're going, is that right?
I'm going to Blading Cup. I am. It's going to be my first Blading Cup since 2015, I'd say, and
Hmm.
it's going to be my first time flying since COVID. So
Oh
I'm
wow,
I'm I'm interested to see if there's going to be some person freaking out on the plane and having the plane get diverted and whatever. Like I read all the time happening. So we'll
I know,
see.
right? There's like
Um,
every other.
just some drunk nut basket, but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited. The issue right now, with the war in Ukraine and the price of fuel, like flights have gotten really expensive this past month. And I was looking at flights to Blading Cup, and some of them were like $1,500 leaving out of like
Right.
Vermont and stuff. And then I found some for about 500 if I went like Wednesday through Monday. So I mean the whole event's Thursday through Sunday, so I'll be at the whole event. But if you only wanted to go for like the finals on the weekend or whatever, like flying on a Friday and leave on a Sunday night is like super expensive. Fortunately, I had some miles on my credit card, so I got a flight for $12.
Solid.
So that worked out
Gotta
really
beat that.
well. And I've let frequent Meyer flowers like disappear, just never using them. So it's one of the first times I actually used them, and it worked out really well.
Solid.
I have a place to stay Friday and Saturday nights, um, but I still am trying to figure out places to stay for Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday nights. So if I don't find any
Mhm.
place soon, I'm gonna just get a hotel for those nights.
Yeah, just bite the bullet.
Yeah, so I feel like it's still, still harder to stay with people with COVID. Like people just don't want you at their house.
Sure,
You
and you're
know,
still part of that.
so
Jan, I have to take another 30-second intermission.
all right, let me pull it on my
Sorry.
screen, and I'll
Okay.
go over to any questions. I'll look through any more questions here. Okay. William Byron, what are your thoughts on blade trade and communities of that nature? I think blade trade's good. It's a way for, like we had said, people buy skates and don't like them, so they have a venue to sell them. You have people collect skates that can find some old skates they want. So it's good. It gets people on skates that can't necessarily afford brand new skates. I feel like a lot of people now have a lot of skates. Obviously depends on what you do for work, but there's a lot of people today who, when they were younger, they wanted a certain skate, they could never have them, but now they can afford them, so they can find those skates on Blade Trade. So I think Blade Trade is definitely a good avenue for people. And Eric asks, Eric is my middle name. And Ben is back with us here. Let me go ahead and bring him back into the chat. What do you guys think of scooters? And my opinion on scooters is this. First of all, the Razor scooters, like the original ones, they were just like really cheap, crappy scooters. I thought they were just cheap, crappy scooters because that's what they were. Now you have obviously like scooter brands that make good quality scooters, and some of the tricks they do on scooters are pretty mind blowing. Unbelievable that they can do those tiny little things. And I think it's kind of just like the worst thing about scooters is just the kids, and it's the same kids that were like the little rollerbladers in the '90s or like the little skateboarders. It's just little kids, right? It doesn't matter what they're on. They get in the way, and they either it's like their parents bring them there and they let them go all over the place while the parents sit on the coping, so everyone's in the way. Uh, I don't have a problem with scooters. I think I have a problem with just like skate park etiquette and little kids like not caring that they're in the way, or parents not caring that their little kids are just flying around the skate park and potentially getting hit. What about you, Ben? Any
No,
scooter
I
opinions?
can agree. I can agree more. I think it is. They probably are very much akin to any other kids at the skate park that don't understand etiquette. Their parents don't understand skate park etiquette, and I think a lot of times we get really, really angry at. I know I do at like younger kids just running around. The cliche meme, right? Like the worst person in the world is the mom that just lets her four kids run around the skate park and basically threaten everyone's lives,
Right. Yeah.
including their own. But I think at the same time too, it's like instead of us just getting super upset, it's like there's probably a clear lack of understanding of skate park etiquette and the inherent risk of a 200-pound man mauling your son completely on accident at 25 miles an hour or more. It's like I think there's just like a lack of understanding, and I think it would warrant us taking a little more time to like tactfully explain that and those risks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely some of those parents don't want to hear it though. And I've seen these kids at the
Agreed.
skate park in Austin, House Park. They're having their skateboard. They're wearing cowboy boots. They're laying on their stomach. Going down the banks, and it's a packed skate park. There's people flying all over the place. BMXers, with their pegs and like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's been a fair amount of little kids who've been completely maimed at
Right.
skate parks around the world
Right.
because they're
Probably
just
paralyzed or something.
bad life decisions.
Yeah.
And Mike, going back to the them skates, only suggestion them just to keep the money in the industry. And don't get me wrong, I'm always for keeping money in the industry. That's kind of like why we were talking about Impala earlier. Unsure if that's something that they do, even though they are sponsoring Blading Cup this year. But like been brought up. Maybe it's because of the quad element. So we will see. Um,
Shima had Cyruses.
Shima had a Pro Cyrus, yeah. Mike McFly, I just picked up the 909 boots for Rec 80 setup. They work well for sure, plus supporting skater own brand. Um, I mean, okay, neither one of those are going to be your best trail skates. Like that, I'm always of the opinion like a big wheel UFS setup is good for certain types of big wheel skating, like wizard skating, you know, like the K2R100s, or maybe just like running to the corner store if you live in a city on some 80 UFS frames. But if you're gonna do like real trail skating, you're trying to get like marathon skates in, you want like a lighter, dedicated, not aggressive, skate like a rec skate or urban skate or whatever. But skating supporter skater owned, obviously we all believe in that. I think we can agree, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But you're saying this Shima Cyruses aren't the best trail skates? No, I'm kidding.
No, I'm not. And the Cyruses were okay. I think one of the ugliest skates ever made. They looked like Shamu, from SeaWorld, San Antonio, where you're at. That's the Cyrus. That's what the Shima Cyrus kind of looked like, and that's why like the Razor's Cult boot is the best boot they've ever made in my opinion because it just looks good. All the ones they've made themselves, like the Genesis and like the Cosmo and stuff, they all kind of look like a Cyrus in my opinion. And you got the Cyrus pulled up. Let me go ahead and bring it in. And there it is.
It does look. It looks
wait,
just
sorry.
like.
Okay, now we have it in. See, now you can zoom out a little bit on that.
Okay.
When you're in, yeah. So it looks like Shamu, and it looks like it kind of looks like a Genesis and a Cosmo to me a little bit. It's kind of like the grandfather of those skates.
That buckle closure looks really interesting.
It wasn't one of their best performing skates, and that's obviously why it's not around anymore.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm zoomed out enough or not, or whatever.
Yeah, you're good. You're perfect.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Drumivore's got a question. Let me get rid of the skate. Or
Yeah,
statement.
Get rid of it.
Tried the Powerside next, but had to return them. They look amazing, but they hurt my feet and ankles. Couldn't do softer boot either, so RW built me some 99s with GC 80 frames. See, I've heard people having issues with the neck skates, and again, they fit me perfect out of box. I've never had an issue with them. I skate them all the time. I skate these ones, the next Arctic Gray ones. I skated these in just 2 days ago in Quebec. I skated them all last year. I like them. The only issue, there's one issue with this boot, is the buckle. The cuff buckle is really hard to get off. Like once you have it strapped in, you're done skating. It's like you really have to pry at it to like unlock it. And I've had a couple of times where I'm like, am I gonna have to cut this fucking thing off with the scissors? Other than that, it's a great skate, and I wear it a lot. And I don't have that issue every single time I skate it, but there's a few times when I really ratchet tight. It's also hard to ratchet tight at the cuff there. And I don't know if it's the same with every neck skate. I feel like they change. Every time they change the buckles, and they change components and stuff. But I do like that skate, and I skate it all the time. And fit wise, it fits great. But I have heard fit issues on this skate, and that's just because everyone's got different feet. Same with the swell. Skate is more narrow, fits people really good. I think the skate brands should make a better effort in letting people know what skates fit better for wide feet and narrow feet, because I know they have skates for both people, but they don't necessarily say what skates they have for both people. So on the websites, maybe having which skates are wider and narrower, because they're definitely all different. All right. Martin had a tailbone fall.
Poor Martin.
Drumivore had a splitter rail when he was 13 and have had a cyst ever since. That sounds painful.
Ouch.
Oh, I can tell you my worst. Well, maybe not my worst fall, but one of my worst falls was back in like the 90s. I might have been on I think Majestic 12s. I really liked rail transfers. Like,
Hmm.
so there was these rails in Austin, and I would like I front side, jump on front side, but from the side of it. So it's like there's two rails, jump on front side on this one, and then transfer front side to the other one, and then back side, and then like transfer like switch front side. And I ate shit. It was wintertime. I was by myself. I ate shit. I landed on my rail, and I like ripped my like butt muscle in half, and now like I've had like three butt cheeks ever since,
Yeah.
and that was quite painful. And it was like more like it wasn't like a jumping transfer either. It was like, well, it was a jump. It was like a hop step.
Yeah.
It was sketchy because it was on old skates and stuff. But
Oh yeah.
have you ever tried to transfer anything?
Oh yeah. Those used to be my jam back in the day, back in the hammerhead days. But not anymore.
Where did you start skating at? Was it in San Antonio?
I no, I started in really started at Kona Skate Park.
Okay,
Yeah, in
legendary
Jacksonville.
spot.
Yeah, no doubt. My mom was going to school there, going to college there at the time, and yeah, we just I think she like saw Kona Skate Park on like a website randomly. It was like, you guys need to go have some fun here, and the rest is history.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, it's where saw skated with a bunch of awesome people. Skated with John Fromm there a couple times. Fallon Heffernan. It was a lot of fun. I was always a Grom though. I was basically never got decent for like many years after that. So
Samuel asks, "Who do you all think is the most underrated up and coming skater right now?" Uh, that's a hard one. There's so many like good young kids skating, and it's kind of harder for me to justify what's underrated these days because underrated back in the day would have been like somebody like Lal Shivak or Connor O'Brien that never got a pro anything,
it's
when
criminal.
they should have.
Exactly.
Underrated now, it's like I don't know. Its exposure is different. A lot of stuff's Instagram based and YouTube and sponsorships different. Getting paid is different. Promoting skaters is different. Back in the day, you promoted skaters, through print magazines and video sections, for big videos. So I can't really say who's the most underrated and up and coming skater right now. I'm gonna have to think about it, and I think that should be a separate show.
Hmm.
I'll write it down. And what about? Do you have any opinions on that?
I don't know. I think maybe it's just because of recency. If we were talking about him earlier, but Michael Weitzman,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about. I haven't been following him very much, um, more than like the last month or two, couple months. But I am super impressed by his skating. I'm super impressed by what he's doing with his channel, and I am just amped to see where he goes with his skating and with his YouTube channel. So I don't know if that really answers your question, Sam. And by the way, Sam, thanks again for letting me borrow the 909s, and I'm excited to skate with you on Wednesday.
All right, we have a interesting comment here from JT, and that is Dustin Latimer is essentially our Michael Jordan, and he wants nothing to do with the sport anymore, even refusing Jump Street interview twice. Jan, do you have any insight on history with DL? Um, I don't even know if Dustin would like that comparison with Michael Jordan either, but um, I mean, Dustin's always been fringe as far as how he's interacted with people and the industry. And I know Dustin, I've known him for a long time. And even, there was a period when, during 4x4, when we went to, NIM, when we went to Arizona, he had a whole year where he didn't speak. We were there, he was just signing to us and like writing stuff down. He wouldn't even talk. So I think there's a lot more to him not wanting to be part of skating than just like not having anything, like wanting to do anything with the sport anymore. It's just, he's a really cool guy, but he's very eclectic and interesting, and it's it's just he lives a different lifestyle than most people, and I think that's part of it. Oh, looks like everyone we are out of time for this interview. Um, the software I have is not allowing more than 2 hours. So we did 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and call this right now. I'm going to get Ben back on the show. We'll do a follow up interview maybe next week sometime and a week after if he's down. I want to thank you all for watching. Make sure and hit the like button if you enjoyed this interview. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified anytime I do new videos. And anytime these live shows come up, you'll be notified if you hit the bell icon. I have another interview tonight, 7 p.m., with Andrew Leverton and Dave Gunn talking about their new video, Better Than Now, or Better Than Never. And we're going to talk about their skating history, the Connecticut skate scene, New England skating, my New England blading camp trip, and all sorts of stuff. So check that out in 2 hours, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in this channel. And I'm going to be using my other live streaming software for that interview, so we won't have issues with it disappearing like it just happened right now with Ben. So anyway, thank you guys all for watching this show, and I hope to see you at 7 p.m. tonight.